You're watching PEGRI TV, Rhode Island's public access channel.
Good evening, I'm Bill Mulholland, and welcome to Good Sports Classics. Tonight, we feature the high school basketball career of Central Falls native Claudia DeFaria. Claudia, as a power forward and a member of the Central Falls High School Lady Warriors, was a two-time All-Stater, a three-time first-team All-Valley selection, and surpassed 1,000 points and 1,000 rebounds during her career. At CCRI as a point guard, she was the second-team National Junior College Division III All-American and held the CCRI record for career points and assists. At Rhode Island College as a center, she was the 1995 Little East Conference Player of the Year, leading the conference in scoring with 19.2 points, 11.3 rebounds, and with a field goal percentage of 56% efficiency. Claudia is a member of the Rhode Island Interscholastic Athletic Hall of Fame, the CCRI Hall of Fame, the Rhode Island College Hall of Fame, the Little East Conference Hall of Fame, and the New England Basketball Hall of Fame, among others. Welcome to Good Sports Classics, Claudia.
Well, thank you for having me, Bill. It's a pleasure. Thank
yes, we've got a wonderful career here, and it's going to be fun to go over and talk about that. So, Claudia, before we get into your outstanding high school career, what youth sports were available in Central Falls for girls in 1982 to 1986?
The primary sports that were Little League, so we could play Little League with
Did
our
you play
fellow.
Little League?
I did play Little
Did
League.
you?
I
Okay.
did. Myself and my younger brother played Little League for a few years.
The only girl in the...
I believe for the first couple of years, but there definitely were other girls that participated in as as I was getting older, certainly. But basketball for sure, something that I got drawn to. I was, I think, in the 4th, 5th grade when I started at the community center. So I attended Holy Trinity. So right next door was the community center, and we would go there and play it. And also Hagerson Avenue down at the Blacktops, playing with the boys down there. So, and the summer programs also had a variety of other types of sports that girls and boys would participate in.
Yeah.
But
So who were some of your early mentors as far as youth prior to high school?
Ralph Holden for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you had a chance to be part of Ralph Holden, huh?
Absolutely.
Wonderful
man. He was that hot-tempered Irishman, as he would always say, but certainly cared about every youth that walked through those doors and then some.
Yes.
Kenny Voldrell was another one. I ended up working with them when I got older as well at the community center. So I had a lot of great mentors. Donald Suggs was another who coached Holy Trinity CYO.
Did he really?
He did, and I got to coach with him for a little bit as I was going. Moving up a little bit, getting a little taste of it. So as far as like female mentors, Kathy Kelly, but more so when I got to the high school, she was there. But Maureen Azar as well. So, there weren't as many out that were there, but I can recall a few of them like those. Yeah,
and the reason was Title IX. Title IX only came in 72.
Correct.
So any mentors that you had, and even Kathy Kelly was really one of the pioneers regarding that. Now, you have a Portuguese background.
Yes.
And so tell me about Mom and wanting you to play sports. How did that work?
Well, for years it didn't work very well because of the cultural background, especially in my family. My mother always felt that I belonged in the home, the woman's place is in the home, nothing, playing sports was what my brothers should be doing. So they did learn to allow me to do that because I struggled with school. I wasn't a very good student, so knowing that I had to maintain my academics and sports was keeping me there, it worked. But I will say, my mother was notorious when I got home and I had an injury of some sort, or I tried to hide it. Mother's intuition is not a joke. She would hide my gear from me.
Really?
She would hide my uniforms, my sneakers, and tell me, no, you shouldn't be, why are you doing this? You're gonna get hurt, you're gonna regret it when you're older, you're not gonna be able to walk, and so on and so forth. But
did your dad intervene, right?
He did, but Mom, rules the roost.
Okay.
So at home we had to keep Mom happy. But again, with my father's support and knowing how important it did become later on in life, I can definitely joke about it now. But I was so glad to get my mother on my side and see the value and allow me to do it. And yes, she would occasionally then hide my gear, and I'd have to beg her for it. Please, can I have it back? So, but yeah, that's.
And why did you gravitate towards sports? Was that just something that you felt you were going to be good at, or? I mean, you could have been a girly girl, right?
I could have, but I think because I have two brothers, one is 3 years older, one is a year and a half, and it was always rumble tumble in the home between the three of us.
There you go.
And I just like
you're the
being
youngest?
active. I'm the middle.
Oh, okay.
So that alone, raised a lot of problems in the home because I always wanted things my way, but you had the older brother saying, no, this is the way it's got to be done. The younger brother trying to learn from the two of us. And yeah, I was very much a tomboy growing up, and sports was definitely a way to help release and just stay energetic.
And it worked for you, right?
It did,
Yeah.
it did.
Now, Claudia, it is now December of 1986, okay? And you become the first freshman to ever start for the Lady Warriors basketball team. So talk about your sophomore. You were a 5'6" forward at that point in time, right?
Yes.
Who was your coach?
My coach was Kaz Malik, and I knew of Coach, and I also had an awareness of some of the girls on the team as well. Being a freshman and being told that you're going to start over a senior or junior who has been there was mind-blowing.
Sure.
And I didn't know how they would react to it, but I went into the gym and I just did what I was asked to do, worked on my skills as I was asked by the coaches, and I was rewarded for it, but I was grateful too that the juniors and seniors took me under their wing. There was no animosity, there was no resentment for it. It was, if Coach thinks that she's the player that's going to get the job done, then that's who's going to be on the floor, and there it is.
You told me before the show that it was a whirlwind the whole freshman year. Yeah. I mean, you're playing against, now at Holy Trinity with CYO, you're playing basically in your age group. Now, as a freshman you're playing against 18-year-old women at that point in time. So there had to be some type of transition, but you got your points in garbage points. And explain what garbage points are. So
garbage points were getting the rebounds, fighting for the rebounds, and then putting them back up and scoring. And that's what Coach said. If you want to score, especially as a freshman, you go out there and you collect the garbage. And my eyes lit up because I thought, I can hit people? It's okay to do that and get the ball and go back up to it. Go back up, absolutely. And one thing that I've been grateful for in my career with the coaches at Central Falls, where they were very fundamentally sound coaches. That you needed to know the basics, and certainly Mr. Malik in my freshman year really helped develop that aspect. And the nickname I was given.
Oh, you had a nickname?
I was given a nickname in my freshman year. So in gym class, I was allowed to play with the boys.
Okay.
I was allowed to play with the boys, and I remember one of the football players said, "You play like an animal," and animal stuck. I was called animal all the way through.
And that really defined your style of play, though. I mean, as a sports person, and you're named Animal, that's the person you have to beware of.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
All out, nonstop, doesn't matter, press flesh, the whole bit, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, as I said, knowing that I can be physical, hit somebody, and legally, I should say, it was fine. Oh, so up my alley. So up my alley. So
it was a learning period for you, at least for your freshman year. The team lost in the semifinals of the Class beat North. So let's move on to April of 1987.
87.
And you are the starting catcher for Kathy Kelly's fast pitch softball team, just for looking for something to do, correct?
Certainly.
Okay.
So basketball certainly was my concentration sport, but softball, with my Little League background, was something that I just did to again, just keep busy in school, socialize, and have fun. But I got to tell you, in the 4 years, I believe we were the Bad News Bears. So
why?
We were just not really that good. But we gave it our all and just had so much fun. So fast pitch had just, in a sense, been introduced at the high school level. So not many schools were actually playing fast pitch. So we were playing. I remember North Providence, for instance, had a slow pitch team and a fast pitch team.
And
so
they were studs in fast pitch.
I mean, absolutely.
Yes.
And they were studs playing fast pitch as well. So I got to tell you, I, as the catcher, was very grateful.
Animal again, right?
Yeah, well,
perfect name for if you want to catch you. The nickname is the animal. That's what
I had my moments of tagging out people trying to steal home, and I did unfortunately flip somebody one time, but she was trying to avoid me, and I needed to make sure I got her. But I had never been more grateful for the mercy rule. So oh God, yeah, many times we were just, we got to get to that third inning. Please let this game end. It was fun. We competed. It was a bit of a mixed bag of players. So I had some of my teammates from the basketball playing, but we certainly had some other girls who had been playing softball in the recreation league or wherever they were playing. And, again, we all came together and we played. And I look at it as the Bad News Bears, but we had so much fun. Not too much success, but it didn't really matter.
Yeah, when we had Kathy Kelly on the show, she had said that the Interscholastic League came to her and said, look, we need a couple of more fast pitch teams.
Yeah.
And she said, well, okay. And she said, and if you don't have a pitcher, then you don't stand a chance of going over and being successful. But she had mentioned, how about the uniforms?
Itchy.
Okay.
You were itchy.
Okay.
Yeah. What I did appreciate about being the catcher and being the catcher for the 4 years with Kathy, she would make sure that I was well protected. So she allowed me to go with her to get the uniform, the equipment, what the shin pads were, the chest protector, the face mask. Because I don't, how many times am I pulling that off? And
sure.
I'd have dirt marks. I was a mess as the catcher, but the uniforms were what they were. We had our starting shortstop, because at the time of the 80s, it was the hair. You had the Aquanet spray, and the hair was out to here. And we had a teammate. She had a cannon for an arm, and her and I would have the signal, to get the runners trying to steal home. But she couldn't wear the hat because her hair was out here. And I remember every time she went to bat, the helmet would come down to about here. And then as soon as she hit it and takes off, there goes the helmet. And, the umpire's like, the helmet's got to stay on your head. And it wasn't staying on her head. Aquanet did its job.
Now, Claudia, the Central Falls playgrounds were legendary in the summer months for hoops play. So were there opportunities for females to run the courts?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Down at Hagerson Avenue. That's where people were night, day and night.
Were there girls playing down there prior to you getting down there?
Not so much.
Okay,
There were a few. So. Yeah. Again, being the tomboy, wanting not to stay home all the time and being out in the community, I loved being down there. And, it was be home when the lights turned on.
Sure.
I was home when the lights turned on. I didn't want to get in trouble. And then certainly going to the community center, being able to play there, in the evening hours because they were open late.
Yeah, in fact, we have a photo coming up right now of you playing in the community center and shooting a shot with nothing but boys out there. So talk about that experience. Now, so they knew of you now after your freshman year that you were a player to begin with anyways, right?
Yes.
That helped?
Oh, absolutely, it helped. The reputation was there. And again, playing with boys, they're taller, they're stronger, they're faster, just naturally faster and everything else.
It's like you're playing up, right?
I'm playing up, and it certainly, as my career evolved, it really was the cornerstone of that development piece for me, playing with the boys. They didn't look at me and say, oh, it's a girl, let her shoot, or don't go near her. No, I was running. We were basketball players, and that's what they saw, and that's how they treated me, and frankly, that's how I wanted to be treated. So I was grateful for that.
And it worked out well for you.
It did.
So Claudia, let's move to your sophomore year. So what were the expectations for your sophomore year, as now you're up to 5'8" forward for the Lady Warriors?
So in the sophomore year, in the freshman year, we had two front court guards in April Peckham and Paul Elias. So the offense really evolved around them. Well, they've graduated. What does coach do now? Well, he's got myself, who's developed, Brenda Rattray, who is about 6 foot at this point. So the shift is we're gonna work on our backcourt game, and we're gonna focus and allow people to now stop our backcourt. Go after those two and see what happens. So it evolved around us, but we had the great supporting cast of our guards at the time as well, most of them ended up coming up to the varsity level, but they were swing players. So they got some of that experience when I was a freshman, being able to play up a little, up at times. But certainly now with Paula and April having graduated, we got to revamp what they've been doing in the last few years. We're having them.
And after you finished college, you actually worked for 30 years as an assistant coach, both at the high school and the collegiate level. Cool. So I want you to give a scouting report on your starting five. So let's start with the guards. Maria Ocampo.
Maria Ocampo, she was about 5'5", scrappy, quick.
What year?
She was a sophomore.
Okay.
So she was a swing player in her sophomore year, playing back and forth, but she certainly developed her handle, and again, she was our defensive specialist. She could go out there and defend just about any guard on the floor. We had Amy Corrigan, who took over the point guard position that April had played, and again, another swing player, but who, learning behind April. She was about 5'5" as well.
What year?
A sophomore.
Okay.
And she had big shoes to fill, and she filled them.
Yeah, she did.
She did fill them, yeah.
Patty Tager, another guard?
Another guard, more of a 3, senior, the sole senior that year. And
how big?
She was about 5'6".
Okay.
Yeah, not a bad size. When we were playing a zone, she was down low with us, Brenda and myself. So a good outside shooter. But with her being a senior and having that experience and having that knowledge, especially on the court with us, was definitely a big help for us to having her, with us. Right. And then we had Brenda Rattray, 6 foot, sophomore as well. Lanky,
okay.
Yes, lanky. Didn't really like getting hit as much. I mean, I loved getting hit, and I love hitting back. But she did have, because of her size, had a bit of a finesse around the basket and be able to go up and finish, especially being at 6 foot.
Sure.
And then you had myself. Yeah,
give yourself a scouting report. How are you different from your freshman year, now starting your sophomore year?
I think the biggest difference was I had worked on my shooting, where I had focused a lot of staying in the paint, right? Being the garbage collector, being that animal, boxing out and going up. I was working on my mid-range game, working up towards the foul line area and developing those shots from up there, especially because coach had let us know that we're going to be playing in the inside game. So it's going to be a high-low type of combination. So if I'm high, I may have the opportunity to shoot from the foul line, so you have to be able to develop that. Or if I dump it inside, to Brenda, or Brenda's on the high post, dumping it inside to me, she also had to be working on some of those things.
Sure. Now, Claudia, let's discuss your personal highlights for your sophomore season that saw the Lady Warriors finish with a 12-2 Class B North record, lose to Charahoe in the Class B semis, and have, as you said, 6 foot center Brenda Rattray finished 4th in the Valley in scoring at 15.2, and you were 5th at 14.7. So talk about your loss to Pontigansett, 57-39, was your first loss of the season, but they were going to be your nemesis until they moved on to Class A, right?
Correct. So Pontigansett certainly was the nemesis. And I remember that year we had gone to them and lost. And now they're going to come to us. We were excited. We have certainly worked harder the scouting report. What is the scouting report? Who do we need to stop? But what was wonderful about, even though we lost at home, what was wonderful about that experience there was the gym was packed.
Yeah, it said 300 enthusiastic fans
I
for
believe
a
it.
girls' game,
For
right?
a girls' game.
And we're talking, what year is this? 87, 88?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And the gym is packed. And if my memory serves, we were ahead at halftime. Just the energy, the flow, everything seemed to be working for us.
And you came up with a double-double, right? Your first double-double of the year, of your career, 23 points, 16 rebounds. So you gave it your all in that game.
Absolutely. Again, they're our nemesis. They're the team that needs to be beat for us to get to the next level. They had beat us in my freshman year. So learning from my upperclassmen, this is what you have to do. This is who you go through. So you get really amped for that game. And we lost, but again, the energy, it gave us just such high hopes as now we're proceeding into preparing for what I always call the next part of the season, which is the playoffs, right? Because now it starts a new season for us.
Sure.
And even though we lost, we learned so much from that loss that, here, if we tweak a few of these things here or tweak a few things here, we were happy to what our results could be moving forward.
Yeah, and you finished 12-2. Both losses were to Pontiac.
Yes.
So now you're looking to go over, and hopefully the only way you're going to reach them is in the finals of the Class B championship.
Yes.
But you had a heartbreaking loss in the Class B semis to Charahoe, 41-40.
Yes, that was heartbreaking. I think what was more heartbreaking about that was the expectations that we all had for ourselves, and that we didn't necessarily achieve it, but certainly we gave it our all. We come down to it came down to the free throw line, and they would just seem to be better that day. But we were heartbroken for Patty, the only senior. You're always wanting that one more for that teammate. And
Just to get to the championship, right? The state finals.
Certainly. She definitely earned it, and that's what we looked at.
Yeah. But the expectations going in, as far as Coach Malik was concerned, it was a rebuilding year. I mean, he sees the freshmen who are now sophomores, and they're all better. And so I'm sure he's working that, try to do as much as he can, but he must be salivating to wait for the junior year to have 4 of the returning starters going over with high expectations, right?
Oh, the expectations rose every year. Absolutely.
Okay.
So
talk about that. Now we're into your junior year. You've got 4 of the starters returning, except for Patty Tazier. And talk about what has Coach Malik now coached differently now that he's got these veteran players?
He didn't necessarily coach.
And what was his philosophy, by the way?
His philosophy was team first and always. So no matter what was happening on the court, it was always team first. So it didn't matter who the success was coming from. It was team. So the plays might have been designed in a sense more for the post, but certainly we had the guards, and he knew that. And again, the ball could be in any of our hands, and there was a sense of, yep, they'll get it done as well. And we as teammates knew that of each other, and I had no problem passing it out to the wing if Maria was on the wing to shoot, or Brenda down low, and vice versa.
And there were 3-pointers at that point in time, right? That had come in.
Yes.
When did that come in with the high school? Probably 85, maybe a year
I was going to say,
before
I
you?
remember in my freshman year, the 3-point line existed.
Okay. And was there much room on the CF courts?
Absolutely.
For the 3-pointers?
Yes. We had a regulation size court.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Thank goodness, because
I'm thinking about the old Central Falls, right, when I was playing CYO in the 60s.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
yeah, it was tight back then. That was a bandbox.
My understanding was that old gym was what became the cafeteria.
Yes,
that's what I was told.
That's what Kathy Kelly told
Yes,
me. Absolutely,
so,
yes.
But no, our gym was definitely a regular sized gym, and we were grateful for that.
All right, let's do another scouting report. So
Sure.
the ones that are returning, I just want you to talk about how they have improved and what they're looking at. So let's talk about your point guard, Amy Corrigan, key to your team.
Absolutely. Came back. She's definitely better with her handling. Her court vision has improved. Her leadership on the floor. the point guards are an extension of the coach, right? So when the coach is
Yes.
barking orders, it's coming through to the point guard, and she certainly elevated her game. And then we had Maria Ocampo, who was still just as quick, defensive specialist, but her shooting got better, and her ball handling also got better. And then introducing Renee Bernard,
Yes. So
who
that's
took
a new
over.
one. How
new
big
one.
is she? And
So she's about 5'7".
oh, okay, good size.
Yeah, good size.
Yeah.
She played that 3 spot where Patty had played the year before, and same thing. She was more of a slasher where she could shoot, but she could slash through the paint or make the dive down, get it in, and look to score inside. You had Brenda, I think, got an inch taller at 6'1".
Yes, yes, and that helps, right?
That absolutely helps.
And now her post moves are even better than it was before.
Certainly.
Were there many girls who were that tall, especially in Class B North?
No, not that I recall.
Okay.
So I do know. So when we played in like the holiday tournament and playing up with, we would meet some of the
Some of
taller
the bigger
players.
girls,
Yeah,
yes.
the bigger girls
Yes.
in the state. So it was, again, it was a good way to learn and take from that and just something to continue and improve. And I think for myself.
Now you're up to 5'9".
I'm 5'9" at
Yeah.
this point, and still I did a better job with now extending my range with shooting. So where the mid range was more of along the foul line area, I was able to extend it more, especially out in the corners. I became a better and more comfortable shooter from the outside.
Yeah. And how did you like to drive to the basket?
With my head down,
Yeah. Well,
like the bulldozer I was.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So when I did drive, it was taking those hard dribbles and then just muscling up to the basket. As far as my post moves as well, I was trying to refine that, and my bread and butter move was the turnaround jump shot. It was
Oh,
difficult.
really?
It was difficult to stop, and I got
10 feet out, 15 feet out?
no, really on the block.
Oh, okay.
So the defender is very close to you, right? You're taught to defend the basket, and I just got very proficient with being able to go left or right on both sides of the basket.
Drop
with
steps.
Yeah, drop steps. The Kareem move.
Yeah, of
Wasn't
course,
really
yeah.
good at that one, to be honest, but my post moves I thought also improved come my junior year.
Yeah. How wicked were your picks?
They were wicked.
I bet they were. The poor girl didn't want to do that again, right?
No.
You're solid.
I was a solid.
Yes.
Definitely solid. I would set that screen, and I remember playing in the Christmas tournament. I think it was against Cranston East, and it was funny to watch the review of the tape, and you see her coming into me. I was setting a high ball screen for the point guard. I set the screen, and then poof, she's gone off screen.
Oh.
She hit me hard enough that I moved, but then she bounced off of the range of the camera, and I mean, you laugh about. I have to laugh about it
Of
now. It was
course,
pretty
that's
funny, but yeah, I was solid.
pick. Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
solid and legal.
Yeah, and legal. Coach Kaz Malik had each player fill out a card with their personal and team goals prior to the start of the junior year. So what did you put down on your card?
For my personal goals, certainly was to improve on rebounding. I still felt that was my go-to, my mission for the team. So to continue to improve that, but also to improve my shooting, to continue being a threat for the team. I know as a team, we all put to win the championship, a state championship, but also a league championship. So that held true. And we did it, we reviewed it, and periodically throughout the season, we would be reminded of what our goals were
So
to keep us
Oh,
focused.
he'd have these cards to
Yeah.
go over and say, well, Claudia, this is what your goal is.
Yeah.
Your expectations aren't where they should be, and you need to work better on that.
And then it was also a way for the coaches to say, okay, this is what you say you want to work on. Well, here's how you're going to do it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Right. Now, Claudia, the Lady Warriors started out December with a 7-0 record before getting rolled by Class A Cranston East, as we talked about, 56-36 in the Smithfield Christmas Tournament. So what was it like? So that was probably one of your first times going up against a strong team. What did they have that you did not have?
When I think of the Cranston schools, even Pawtucket, I think of the feeder programs they have for girls in their communities.
The CLC,
CLCF, and it certainly gives them a leg up in being able to compete. And when you look at their schools and you go into Pawtucket, you look up on the wall. I mean, it is evident that they've been a dynasty and such. So, but I think the important thing with us playing up was, again, giving us a better perspective of what that talent is, what you as the individual want to, achieve by working hard and motivating us to say, okay, you win or lost, but here's what the things that we've learned. And how can we apply what we've learned to make us better now in the Class B North?
A good loss, right?
A good loss.
You don't hear that too often, but something like that would be the perfect one. So Claudia, let's take a deep dive into your junior campaign highlights. Once again, I'm sorry, we've got to start with Pawtucket.
Sure.
Lost to Pawtucket at Pawtucket 55-40. You were down 29-10 in the second quarter. What happened? You just started slow, or did they just overwhelm you? What happened?
I think we did. We started slow. I think we went in nervous as well. I mean, again, it's been us and Pawtucket, and trying to figure out how do we get over this mountain.
Right.
And playing there was no fun either. Their crowd was really into it, and I remember cowbells.
Oh, really?
So annoying. So annoying. But I think we did. We went in there tight. Not necessarily not ready, but the atmosphere certainly favored them on their home court. And once you're down that much and you start losing your focus, and
takes the wind out of your sails.
It does. It
right?
takes the winds out of your sail, and that was.
So how different was Pawtucket's style of play from the Lady Warriors?
So from what I remember, they had more of a finesse of a game. Where we were more of a physical game.
Okay.
But they also had some really great shooters.
Yes, they did.
So that was really their bread and butter. So that perimeter game, it was hard to stop. And they're taller. Amy's like 5'6", Renee's like 5'7", and Maria's, I think, stayed at 5'5" pretty much. So, they were able to shoot and go in, and they're well coached as well, not. And they did their diligence too. Like, who do you take out for such a falls? Well, they learned and worked on getting me and Brenda out of the picture. And
sure.
So kudos to them.
Difficult.
Yeah.
So now the junior year was really your doubles now are starting to come over. So you had 26 points, 19 rebounds, and what the Times called a Herculean effort against North Providence. So now are you starting to expect that this is where it's going to have to be for you to be successful?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it became more and more evident when we were playing other teams in our conference, and the amount of focus that I was getting, and also Brenda.
Sure.
You couldn't just worry about me. You had to worry about Brenda. So that duo combo of the two of us, but it was evident as we kept playing where that focus was and what the expectation for us to win.
But if they double you, that Brenda's probably going to be open, right? So how much of a passer were you at that point in time?
I would get in trouble for being a passer.
Oh, really?
Yes. I remember being yelled at a few times. You were closer to the basket, and I said, well, she was closer.
Okay.
Again, my thought of team first is if my teammate is in a better position, I'm going to pass it off.
Absolutely.
And I did find myself being double teamed.
As long as that person can finish the play, right? That's the key too,
that's the
right?
key. Yes, they had to finish.
So talk about boxing out your opponent. So you're 5'9" now. You're a solid person at that point in time. So what were some of your techniques to go over? And once you got that inside move, it was over, right? They couldn't get around you.
Yes, absolutely. So as I said, Coach made sure if I wanted the rebounds, this is how you do it. So I would plant one of my feet in the middle to neutralize, and then I would swing quick, and as I was taught, you want to neutralize their thigh. How are they getting around you? And when I would spin,
Yeah.
I'd spin quickly and hard, and there were many times an opponent wouldn't want to come back near me.
Okay.
And I was able, again, being stronger and a little wider and
Sure.
learning to use my arms, I made myself wider because I wasn't tall per se. So I had to use my body in such a way, and the coaches made sure that I knew how to do that. And yeah, it hurt. I was always told like it hurt when I boxed out people.
Okay, I bet it was.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. All right, and so now you lose to Pawtucket at home, 52-47. So you're close at home,
Yeah.
but just can't get over that hurdle,
Yeah.
and you end up as a high scorer with 18 points. So they must have tried to stop you as much as they could,
Certainly.
but you still put 18 points on them.
Yeah.
Another fun game?
It was always fun. Again, right? You know they're your rivals. You're up emotionally. You get ready. Sometimes it could be too much, and then you shut yourself down when things don't go well. But definitely knowing that we had these opportunities playing against them, and it was fun to be able to get excited, and certainly get the school excited as well, and try to flood the gym and just play against your rivals. It'd be us playing Shea and Tolman, right? They're cross-city rivals.
Sure.
Where Pawtucket is the league rival. So it's just fun to be able to compete at that level.
And so you put a monster performance, double-double against North Providence. 24 points, okay, and that's all right. 33 rebounds. So how did you get 33 rebounds in that game? Were offense and defensively?
Yes,
Yeah.
offensive, defensive. But again, I always had the mentality, I'm going after that rebound. And coach always said, assume that your teammate's going to miss. You hope for them to score, but assume that they're going to miss. Okay. And I really was relentless.
And we've got a neat photo coming up here that will show your intensity also.
Yeah.
And it worked out so well for you.
Yeah.
All right, and so now one of the goals probably was to reach 20 wins in a season. Any team that reaches 20 wins. And you did that in the Class B North finale against Shea. How important was, so that was your last game, so did Coach Malik talk about this one? We got 19 wins overall, yeah. We need to get that 20th win?
Certainly, so you want a good record going into the playoffs.
Sure,
especially for seedings, exactly. So we wanted to make sure that we could get in a good, in the rankings with a great record, and certainly we worked to get that record. And Shea, Tolman, Lincoln, it didn't matter, whoever that was, we knew that game was so important for us. And, he helped focus and said, this is what we got to do. And we went in and did it, and, couldn't be more grateful. And we had fun doing it too. Sure.
So you finished 14-2 in the league, 2 losses to Pawtucket, 20-3 overall. The other loss was to a Class A team, sure. Right? And so now you go into the playoffs and defeat a pesky East Greenwich team 56-47. You score 17 points. Now, did you have a home game, or was it off campus? Do you remember?
I want to say we were off campus.
Maybe in the CCRI Lincoln?
Lincoln, yes.
Okay.
That's where the girls' finals were played, was there. So
a good win for you,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
But if they say pesky, that mean they were close and giving you a hard time.
Yeah, what I remember, their game was they loved full court pressing. Their guards were all over the court. They were quick, and they had some good shooters too. They were known for shooting, from what I remember. But I think our style of play, it was rough in the sense, we were physical, yeah. So we went in there, and it favored us that particular game. That our type of game is what got us over sure. the top.
So now you're in the semifinals, one win, and you're probably going to be playing Pawtucket, we would think. But you go up against an unbeaten Westerly team, yeah. in a high-scoring affair, 72-60. Girls,
yeah.
Guys don't even do that. It says, with DeFaria playing with reckless abandon is how the time. I love how they described some of your performances, Claudia. And you scored 18 points. So what was that like to be up and down the court throughout the entire game, right? Fast pitch?
It was fast. Westerly, again, kind of similar to that of East Greenwich, loving to go back and forth. Certainly their perimeter game was good. I want to say they had someone sizable to Brenda as far as height-wise as well, and in the inside game. And being undefeated going in, they're undefeated, and us now going in knowing this, and then wanting it so badly. We gave them a good go. I think there were aspects that we were tight,
Sure.
because
like playing for the seniors again, right?
Yeah,
You want to get in that championship final,
right? Because who knows what the following year would bring us?
Sure.
This for us at that particular time, like this was the team that could get to the state finals, and we wanted it so badly. And to the credit of Westerly, they ended up
probably
going.
playing Pontiacans there. So you ended the season first time All-State, third team All-State, which is good from Class B at that point in time. You tied Brenda for fifth place in the Blackstone Valley with scoring. You each scored 14.6 points per game. Which was basically what you scored in your sophomore year. You had 14.7. So let's jump to your senior year now, all right? And you're the stud. I mean, everything is going around you. So for your senior year, the Lady Warriors have a new head coach in Bruce Maxoud, with assistant coach Bruce Marchand returning. What was the vibe with the team not having Coach Malik back, and also the expectations?
The vibe was kind of unknown to us. Like, what is Coach Maxoud going to bring?
When did that happen? Did it happen over the summer, or did it happen in the fall? Or?
I remember being told when the school year started.
Okay.
So exactly how that all transpired, I'll be honest, I'm not sure, but I do remember when we came in, we were told that Mr. Maxoud was taking over. So we didn't know. We knew that he came. He had experience with being at Providence Country Day, I believe. So we knew that we were in good hands. We were assured we were in good hands, I'm sure. And then we had Mr. Marchand also back as well. And as much as we were hopeful of what was to come, we felt like, again, another rebuilding year, because we've lost 4 of the 5 seniors.
Sure you did. Yeah.
I'm the only returner. We've had the swing players now move up to the varsity that will be starting, and then the expectations for myself truly couldn't have been higher.
Correct.
And I was made to feel that, but in a good, positive, but supportive way.
Yeah. How was Bruce Maxoud different than Kaz Malik as far as coaching is concerned?
Well, I can more so similar in the sense of, again, the fundamentals, making sure that we were fundamentally sound. But I think one of the differences was, he was very much like everybody. Everyone on the court had an opportunity. Not to say that Coach Malik didn't coach this way either, but his focus was, where's the strength at this moment, and that's where we're going. Where's the strength at this moment, and that's where we're going. And just be able to continue to work on everybody's game in that way, so everybody elevated. It wasn't just, as much as everything was concentrated with me.
Yes, okay.
He certainly made sure that everybody else was in the fold.
Well, and you have to be as a coach.
Yeah.
Absolutely, So again, a scouting report. Now you've got 4 new people coming in, right? So let's go again. 3 guards again. Tammy Plant. What year?
She's a senior.
Oh, in your class, okay.
She's a senior. She was.
How tall?
Well, if you include her hair.
Okay.
She was about 5'5".
Okay. Without the hair?
Without the hair, probably 5'3".
Okay.
She'd probably kill me if she ever.
That's all right.
If she ever heard that. But she, quick as a whistle as well.
Was she your point?
She was not our point guard.
Okay.
She was more of a 2 guard.
Okay.
Be able to shoot. Was a good passer. Then we had Sherry Dufault, who was a sophomore. She was about 5'6". So she had the shoes to fill with Amy Corrigan having graduated. Again, a swing player that now rises to to being the starting point guard as a freshman.
Yeah.
We had Linda Moran, who stood at 5'6" as well.
Junior?
Nope. She was a
Oh.
sophomore as well.
Okay.
And she played the 3 spot. So again, similar to what Renee was able to be that slasher, diving in, coming out, physical player as well. Same thing. Had good quickness and good ball handling skills. Then
Now Brenda has left.
Brenda's
But
left.
you now have another big girl,
Yeah.
Suzette De Silva.
Correct.
Okay.
So Suzette's the other senior. So there were 3 of us in my senior year, and Suzette was also.
She was like a 6-man.
She was the
last
6th
year,
man
right?
the year before.
Yeah.
She was also selected as a captain, so her and I were the co-captains that year.
Nice.
And her game, she had to really work at her skills, but she was very much a sponge. So she worked on her skills, and where I was more physical, she was not. She was a little more finesse.
Okay. Like Brenda.
Yeah, and very
Yeah.
similar.
How tall?
She was 6 foot.
Okay.
6 foot.
At
But I
least.
will say
Yes.
that as the year progressed, she did have her moments of being physical that I couldn't help but laugh, because it was
Out of
different.
character?
Yeah, it was a bit out of character, and when she got upset over something.
Sure.
She'd be like, ah!
And now, Claudia, so you're going into your senior year, and you've got milestones there. You see them clearly what the milestones are, things that every player wants to have as far as their career is concerned, but very few go over and have that.
Yeah.
So you know the burden is on you. So how did you approach that season coming in?
I approached that season by not wanting to know how close I may be. I was never a player who wanted to know what my stats were. What was more important to me is what the result of the scoreboard showed. Did we win or did we lose?
Yeah.
I won't say that I didn't read the articles the next day. I didn't look at the stats that were shown the next day. But immediately following the game, I didn't want to know what did the scoreboard say. And I remember as I approached the 1,000-point marker, hoping nobody told me, because I didn't want that to sink in my head and derail my focus.
Sure.
But-
So let's get into that.
So,
then,
yeah.
all right? We're going to take another closer look. So
Sure.
let's start with the Lady Warriors win the Pawtucket Boys Club Christmas tournament, 52-45 over Shea. You have 30 points, 19 rebounds, and walk away with the MVP trophy.
Yes. It was
Nice start.
It was a nice start, and I think that particular tournament was kind of the introduction of what would before me, moving forward, that the
Sure.
expectations were that I needed to score, I needed to play well, and be relentless on the boards, just continue what I've been doing, but doing it at just a higher level, because everybody's eyes were watching.
Right. So now you hit your milestone pretty early in the season.
Mm-hmm.
You scored 25 points against Lincoln. Do you remember what the 1,000-point was?
I was on the foul line.
Really?
I was on the foul line.
Shooting two?
Shooting two, but what happened was, I remember I was in the paint area, and I went up, missed, and went up, and then got fouled, and then went to the free throw line, and we're playing at Lincoln, and I hit one free throw, and then I hit the next one, and the place erupted.
Oh, really?
That's how I realized, oh my goodness, I did it.
Was there a presentation? Now we've got the 1,000 point basketball right here, along with the rebounds.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was presented the ball after the game, because as customary, they were gracious
But
enough to
we've
let
got a
us.
picture coming up now of you getting the ball, but with your mom and dad.
Yeah.
So do they attend a lot of your games?
No, well, my
Okay.
father did.
All
My
right.
mother is a nervous Nelly, and again, she would hide my gear in the fear of me being hurt and I shouldn't be playing. But I would say, in the totality of my career, my mother's probably actually seen me play probably 4 or 5 times.
Yeah. Well,
Because
that's
she's
what
very
happens, moms.
moms get really nervous.
Yeah.
But even today, if we were watching something on TV, she's rocking back and forth, and she gets very nervous. But it was nice, because so it happened at Lincoln High School, but the very next home game, they had let my parents know they were going to do a presentation. So that's I believe what that photo is actually us at our home gym in CF.
It's a great picture.
Yeah, thank you.
So then your next one, again, check off number 2 in the bucket list with 1,000 rebounds against North Providence.
Yeah.
So I didn't know really that they actually kept track of all the rebounds at that point in time. We're talking late 80s, early 90s, right?
Sure. Yeah, you know, those are the big stats, right? The scoring, the free throws, rebounding, assists. You know, those are like the big 4. And fortunately, we did keep track of them.
Yeah. And you achieved both of those.
I achieved those, yes.
Yeah. And so now against Lincoln, you go over and score 28 points, but your lone 3-pointer of the season. So why? And I looked at your stats. You led the Valley in scoring that year, but you only had that was your only tray. Why did you not start looking for the long shots at all? No.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, the 3-point line is not where I belonged.
Okay.
Nope, not at all.
Not yet.
No, not yet. That's true.
That will come.
Yeah, it will. But no, again, staying in the paint, the mid-range game within 10, 12 feet. That's where I was most successful, and that's where I was kept. So.
All right. And now the next milestone, the next achievement that you want to do, you broke the schoolgirl career for the Lady Warriors scoring record previously set by your former teammate April Peckham.
Correct. Yeah.
So how many? So that was. What did you end up getting as far as points? Like around 1,400? Was it something like that?
It was close to that.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
And so you knew that was coming also?
I did, but I'll be honest. I didn't think I was going to be able to achieve it. Again, I wasn't one who wanted to know. If it came, it came. That's how I felt about the milestones that I did achieve. If they came, they came. But I remember Coach at halftime of that particular game pulled me aside and said, "Listen, we know that you're tight," because I wasn't playing well.
Yeah.
I mean, the expectation to do it, we're on our home court, and do it in front of the fans at home would
Not
be
an easy thing
not
to
an
do,
easy
right?
to do. And I just so he talked me down, and I appreciated it. And like they say, the rest is history. The second half of that game, I just turned it back on, and bam, here we are.
Nice.
And
then finally, the only other one that was out there was the individual high score, and you did that with 38 points, eclipsing the former teammate Brenda Rattray. I think I said her name for the other one, but it was April Peckham who you broke the scoring record, and clinching the first ever Class B North pennant. So we've got a photo of the team right after that. So if you want to go over and introduce the girls, starting with the bottom 3.
The bottom 3, so on the left, that's Suzette De Silva, co-captain, senior. Tammy Plant.
Oh,
in
with
the
the
middle,
hair, right?
With the hair. You see what I'm saying? She's about 5'6" with the hair.
Yes, she is.
Myself,
with the net around your neck.
The net
huh?
around, yes.
How cool was that?
Oh, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Did you get to cut it down, or did they cut it down for you?
We got to cut it down. So funny story about that. The wrestling team was there, and they hoisted each of us up so we could cut it. They couldn't find a ladder.
Yeah.
They gave us terrible pair of scissors, so God bless the wrestlers for being strong, because they kept us up there for a while trying to cut the net down, but we used them to cut the net, so
Excellent.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
And then on the back row to the left is Coach Maxud,
Yeah.
Sherry Dufault, Linda Moran, Elmis Navarro, that's Sue, Silvestri, Jackie Rivet. Next to her, then we have Cara Alger. Next to her is Shirley Barbu, I believe was her last name. We have Coach Marchand hiding in the back.
Right.
Lorraine Barkley, Cara Alger, so we had sisters, and then Michelle Borski. That was our entire team. So we were looking at the varsity team with the swing players and the junior varsity team.
Your senior year.
Yes.
All right. So Claudia, the Lady Warriors lost in the Class B semifinal, 55-49 to East Greenwich at Providence College Alumni Hall. That must have been neat playing at Alumni Hall, right? That's when it was still something special back then, right?
Absolutely.
So what happened is that East Greenwich deployed a triangle and 2 defense. So we know what that is. They play a triangle, and then they play man-to-man with the 2 best players. But East Greenwich put a little twist on that in order to try to halt you from stopping.
Absolutely.
Talk about that.
They did their homework. So
Okay.
as we call a triangle of two, and even a box of one, like a gimmick defense. So as you described, you have two freelancing defenders. Well, those two defenders are playing me. So if I was playing in the post, I had someone behind me and someone in front of me. Coach moved me out to the perimeter. I had two people on me. They went with me.
Wow, and you totally unexpected, right?
Nothing I'd seen, nothing that we had seen all season long.
Brilliant move.
It really was.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, I was mad. I
bet you were.
I was so mad. I was like, what is happening here?
Because that was going to be the year you win, you're going to go over. Now, because Pontiac is Class A.
They moved
So now
up.
you're the studs at this point in time,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If there was a year, because Pontiac was no longer in our league,
Sure.
we were,
This was
it
gonna
was
be it. And it's your senior year.
Senior year.
So they must have felt, the undergraduate must have felt like you felt for your first 3 years,
Yeah.
that you're so close but just couldn't get there.
Yeah.
Now, Claudia, you improved your All-State status to second team All-State, led the Blackstone Valley in scoring with 22-plus scoring average, hit every milestone in the Lady Warriors' history, and was reputed to be one of the best ball handlers in the state. Summarize your senior campaign. We got maybe about 4 minutes left in the show.
I would summarize my senior campaign as a whirlwind.
Okay.
Knowing the expectations that were put on me, knowing the expectations that the team as a whole that we had, and also understanding what our past, since my time there, from my freshman on, what we have achieved, and being able to have that opportunity to try to do it one more time. It really was a whirlwind. And along with my individual success, it was fantastic having the teammates that I had along with the coaches as well to allow for those things to happen, but keeping me grounded and supported the whole time. It was just a lot of fun.
Sure.
It was a lot of fun.
So we've got 2 minutes left. So very quickly, Claudia, in the 2026 Central Falls Lady Warriors basketball team played their final home game at the old gym last week, and you and former Good Sports guest Kathy Kelly were recognized as legends, rightfully so, of the court. What were your feelings that night, really quickly?
Nostalgia.
Okay.
Walked in the gym and just remembering, that's where the banner was, because the gym's closing, so a lot of this stuff is off the wall. Looking at the floor and remembering the things, that were accomplished there. So it was really nostalgic for me. And then the alumni crowd that was there, they had us all seated together, and to be able to catch up with some of those women now and just laugh.
How cool was that?
It was fantastic.
Good. Now we have 1 minute remaining in the show. What is your favorite memory from your high school career at Central Falls, Claudia?
Being lifted by the wrestlers to cut down that net.
Yeah.
It really was. And thinking of the longevity and the accomplishments, I've cut down nets, but never as a player.
Yeah.
That was the only time. And knowing how special that year was and the accomplishment we achieved,
Sure.
and having literally the school behind us and lift us to that's my favorite memory.
Well, Claudia, you have agreed to return to Good Sports Classic in April, and I look forward to delving into your college basketball playing days and your 30 years of coaching at the high school and collegiate level. Thank you and great job.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Bill Mulholland for Good Sports Classics. Good night.